are here in Crawford Bay.
Yes, we are.
And today we just want to talk a little bit about all the things we had to do to get to the point where we're waiting for our permit.
Lots of red tape.
We'll tell you in a minute. As we mentioned, the process to get to the point where we can actually start building our cabin was in this binder. I took several pages out of it because that was to do with the lawyer in purchasing the property.
Which was another binder that big.
No, it was all in this binder.
No, it was?
Yeah, it was all in this binder. Yeah, it
Wow.
did, but I took it out because I got tired of carrying it around and we were done with that piece of information. So as we were saying, we've got our property. We are now preparing to get to the process where we get to build our, or set up for our builder to bring our logs to make our cabin.
We need the footer in, and then we need the ICF walls, and then the floor, and then the cabin can show up.
But first, we had to get through the permit process, and if anyone has ever built a house, you know that the process can be quite lengthy. So when we went to visit the RDCK, the Regional District of Central Kootenays, they gave us this package. So because the first step we had to get was our civic address, because it was just lot 43. That didn't compute in anybody's logistics.
It has to be official, so we needed a street address.
We needed a street address. So we have actually I think you call it a civic address. Mm-hmm. So, as I was saying before I realized we were cutting off our heads and I was slouching, so they gave us this package, which is awesome because it gives you step-by-step instructions of how to get your permit. However, the instructions are very clear. In fact, they even have it set up as a checklist. There was a couple things we did not have to do, which was great, but it's good information. So the first thing you have to do, building plans. So you have to have all your building plans, you have to create a site plan, which is basically a picture of where the house is gonna go, where the water is gonna come in, and all that fun stuff. As I'm going through this checklist, we get to the step 3, which was the BC housing requirements. Now, not everyone may have that. Every state, every province will have a different set of requirements of what needs to happen. So you either have to have your builder do this, or if you're building it yourself, you do an owner-builder plan.
Certification.
Yeah.
So
that was him.
I didn't realize it until she had already set me up for the exam that I needed to go for a test. I believe it was 100 questions in 100 minutes, and it was all multiple choice. But it was all basics of construction in general, whether it be foundations or roofing or flashing or windows or whatever. Anything to do with construction, there was a section on it. Mm-hmm. So studying was not brief, it was fairly intense for about a 3 or 4 week period. Anyways,
he passed the test.
Yes, I did pass the test, so I'm authorized to be an owner-builder.
Yay! So that was done. Our sewer system, we basically got a hold of steel wheels, and Donovan took care of everything, sent us the package, so he registered, and he actually informed us that he could just go ahead and build the septic system like tomorrow without us having a permit. So because he has the permit to build the septic system on the property, but he said, let's do it after.
Once the building is up, it makes more sense to have the building up, and then we can fine tune where we want the septic field and the septic tanks and the pump and anything that has to do with the septic system.
And that way no one drives over it when they're delivering logs or putting the roof on or anything like that.
Very important.
Totally made sense. I'm like, okay, so we got you know, that was the easy one. That was the easiest part of it. So we managed to eventually get our permit building plans, and so that all went into the RDCK, and apparently they sent it off to Nelson, which is, I guess, their head office, because the RDCK has several offices. We are dealing with the one out of Creston.
So Nelson approved it and then forwarded it back to Creston.
Yeah.
And we were waiting on the permit, and they're found in the Schedule B of the plans, there were a couple of minor errors for jurisdictional entities and things like that. So we had to get those straightened out.
They just had the wrong area or wrong district in. They thought we were East Kootenays, but we're actually Central Kootenays. So anyways, got that fixed like in a day, and got that sent off. And so now the assistant has done all the paperwork she needs to do, and she's sending it off to the building official, and he's got to do what he's got to do. And we thought we were going to have that.
We were hoping to have that permit by the start of our trip.
Yeah.
This trip that we're currently on.
Yeah.
It did not go as planned. So we were up here to lay footings and foundation, which did not get done.
But in the meantime, we also had to do things like the log home company said you should probably use ICF for your walls.
For the crawl space, yeah.
I don't even know. So, and the ICF is what they...
ICF, if you don't know, is insulated concrete forms. It's basically 2 rows of styrofoam with a concrete pour in between them. And that is an insulation value of anywhere from, I believe, R22 up to an R35. We're going to be around an R28, which is perfect, but we're only going to be having 3 rows of that, which will be 3 feet high on top of the footer, and that will be our crawl space because the floor will sit on top of all of that.
Okay, so then we had to also figure out drainage around the foundation.
Well, I've taken care of that. Excuse me. I've taken care of that in the way that I found a new product called Formadrain, and we'll be doing another video on that, and I'll explain how that goes together. It's basically so you don't have to put down weeping tile around your property or around your build and cover it with gravel and all that fun stuff. It is hollow forms that allows water in, and then it will drain out to wherever you want it to drain out.
Away from your building.
Away from your building. And there's also a radon mitigation system in there as well.
Who knew?
That it's all made for that. So once you've got it up, you've got your form set, you pour your concrete, you don't have to break anything down. You don't have to separate the Formadrain from there.
Time out! Okay, did you have anything else to add to the Formadrain conversation?
The Formadrain, it's not very common in Canada. Not a lot of people have heard about it. It is a company in the US that makes it, and the closest distributor to British Columbia is in Calgary. So we had to have it shipped from Calgary to where we're at in the Kootenays. So that was a bit of a hassle, but it all worked out well. We've got the product here. We just have to get the permit, which we just had an email in, and it should be ready tomorrow.
Hopefully.
But we're leaving town in 2 days.
Okay,
so we're not putting the foundations in yet.
No, it's gonna wait until July. So, anyways, so basically, we then also had to go through and find for the foundation. Brent had to trace down rebar and then figure out how we're getting it up here, and what are the companies closest to us here in Crawford Bay. So there is all these moving parts. And
where to source all of the rebar and building materials for the build.
Yeah, and then with our ICF, it turns out there is a company just on the other side of the ferry.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the company that makes the ICF for us is out of Pincher Creek, Alberta. And it's, I believe it's, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but apparently the closest distributor is 45 minutes away. and he can deliver anytime, and he carries extra stock. So if we need an extra row or if we're missing a few blocks, he's right there for us.
Yeah.
It's out of Selkirk ICF in Balfour.
So our last 2 months have just been a matter of filling out forms, learning new things, getting quotes from people, figuring out how much money it's going to cost us.
Sourcing where we're going to be getting materials from.
Watching YouTube videos on how to do a bunch of different things.
You've got to learn somewhere. I learn a lot from my brother, but he's busy with his own business, and well, that's the way it goes.
So now we're just basically doing the scheduling. We had planned to do all this work this weekend, but without the permit, we weren't able to do that. We were able to get some more property cleared, which we will show you in another video, and just basically get the ground prepared for us to just start putting up the forms for the foundation.
Yeah, once we get that chunk of property leveled off, we've got most of the organics scraped away from the build site, and well, we'll
just need to get some gravel in there, get that permit signed, sealed, and paid for, and we're off to the races. I think that's all I wanted to talk about today.
Oh, really? That's it?
Yeah, I think
you don't
that's
want to talk
about
about anything else?
No, there's lots of things we could talk about, but we don't want to bore everyone.
No.
So just be aware. If you, we actually had this conversation the other day. Should we maybe have looked for an existing home? And
hindsight's 20/20, but well, we're where we're at now, so we're gonna continue on, trucking on.
And you know what? To tell you the truth, I went back and I looked through all the listings for about the same amount of money that we're spending, and I don't think we'd get what we want.
Probably not.
A lot of them we would have to tear down and start again.
Yeah, a lot of them were fixer-uppers that were in pretty rough shape, and the ones that we really liked or would be move-in ready, turnkey, just out of our price range.
Yeah. So, that's all we wanted to share with you this week.
Give us a thumbs up if you like what you see.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Ring that bell for notifications.
Bye-bye for now. It is like right on.
Yeah, it's a lower bench than the other one.
I feel like I'm at the kids' table.
Probably about 6 or 8 inches lower.
Okay, so as we said when we were out for our walk, we have had to jump through lots and lots of red tape. So we're just going to
we're jumping through the hoops and trying to untie the red tape because we're fighting with it constantly.
So it started off with, a few weeks ago we said, hey, we found a builder. That was the easy part. So once you find a builder, you have to get plans from them, which the engineers, I'm sure, are very, very busy, and you may or may not be their number one priority.
Well, if you're a builder or a contractor, you have a good idea what we're talking about. You have to get the finished plans from the builder or the engineer to get your permit. And once you get your permit, you have to have all your trades organized on who's going to be doing what and when they're going to be doing it. But before all that starts, you have to put a foundation down, which you need the permit.
So the RDCK, the Regional District of Central Kootenay, gave us this lovely package that outlines very simple steps of how to do it. So
it is very simple steps.
It's very simple
but
steps,
the
but there's
steps
a lot
are
of them.
large.
There's a lot of them. So they give you a checklist of what you need to do.
I think that you're in the sunlight and I'm not in the sunlight anymore.
Yeah, you kind of...
I can't even see myself in the camera anymore.
Nope. The sun keeps moving. Okay, cut.
Yes.
So I'm just going to adjust the camera for 1 second because I'm cutting off your head and I'm feeling like I'm slouching.
No, I'm fine. Now I'm slouching.
Sorry, Bailey.
What happened? What happened?
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.